welcome to Kitchen Basics 101, where I teach you the bare bone basics as if you have never cooked a day in your life from the perspective of a mom, just a mom. Today is a little bit rainy and drizzly and icky here, so we're gonna make broccoli cheddar soup. If you watch my other videos, I've showed you before how to make a roux, so we're gonna start with that. Full disclosure, I don't like onions, and I love broccoli cheddar soup, so I am not gonna put onions in this. But step one would be to dice yourself up like a half an onion to an onion. Everything else will be the same. This is a 6-quart stock pot, and I'm going to put in 1 stick of butter to start my roux. If you were using onion in this recipe, this would be the part where you add the half onion or 1 onion in, and you would get it just softened and translucent in the butter. Heat set to medium high. Now, this is, like I said, you would be sauteing your onions. Once your onions become translucent, again, I'm not using onion, but if you were using onion, then you're gonna add the garlic because it can't cook as long. You can chop up a clove of garlic. You can grate your garlic. I love this frozen garlic. It's my favorite thing ever. I'm making a pretty big pot of soup, so let's put in, each one of these cubes is a clove. Let's put in 4. Put in 4. This last one won't come out. Oh, there you go, I got it. We have our frozen minced garlic in there. I just love those, they're so convenient. And we're just gonna saute this in the butter until it becomes fragrant. We don't wanna burn. So usually that's like a minute. You'll see they'll start to melt and break up. My garlic is fragrant, so I'm gonna add a couple tablespoons of flour. Let's start with 2 and stir it up and see where we're at. Okay, that's a little thin, so I'm add a little more. I'd say maybe a 1/4 cup of flour. But you really just have to get a look at it and see. Okay, we don't want our butter or our garlic to burn, but you do want to cook it for a minute or 2 just to get that raw taste out of your flour. Okay, this is just a basic roux. Once our roux is going and we're cranking away, for my vegetarians, we're going to use veggie broth. You could obviously use chicken broth here. We're going to use veggie to keep it vegetarian. We're going to do 2 cups. Medium heat. We're going to add 2 cups of veggie broth. I'm going to take a look at what that looks like. Doesn't look like enough broth to me. I'm gonna add more. Okay, I'm recording this after I already finished making the soup. I just wanna make a couple of notes that I would change, and I wanna tell you this before you get started in your process. I would chop up the broccoli smaller, and like I would pour that bag out and chop that broccoli up into little teeny pieces. The broccoli pieces were way too big. And I would back off on the red pepper flake because I felt like that flavor was a little bit overwhelming. I would still add it because I think it did add a little something that was needed, but I would back off of it a little bit. So proceed. This is a 10-ounce bag of already washed, already cut up broccoli, but you could also use smaller chopped broccoli. You could chop broccoli yourself. I'm gonna use that whole bag, 10 ounces. And then I'm gonna add a big handful of shredded carrots. Again, you could buy carrots and shred them yourself. I'm gonna put like 2 big handfuls in there. This is how big is this? This is also a 10-ounce bag. So if I use the whole bag, it would be equal parts carrots and broccoli, but I think, you know, broccoli should be the star of the show. So use about half a bag. She's simmering away. Now we're gonna add some seasonings. A teaspoon. Oh, if I can get it open, use the back. I'm gonna add a teaspoon of smoked paprika. Yum, love that. And then salt, not too much, just because there's salt in the stock. And then some ground pepper. I would guesstimate, I don't know, half a teaspoon or something. Is anything coming out? Oh, take the cap off. Okay, there was too much pepper. Put that lid back on. Funny. We're gonna stir in those seasonings, and then we're gonna add the half and half to make this creamy and delicious. I'm gonna add 2 cups, half and half. I imagine here, if you wanted it to have less dairy, although this is broccoli cheddar soup, it's gonna have a lot of dairy. But I guess if you were using like a dairy alternative cheese, you could substitute a non-dairy milk there. I've never made it, so I don't know. Okay, it looks like this. We're gonna let this simmer for like 10 or 15 minutes, let it thicken up and let the veggies get all soft. Okay. I almost forgot, we wanna add just a little bit of zing to this. So I'm gonna add some red pepper. You can omit this if you want, and put about a teaspoon. That will add a bit of spiciness, but it's a big pot of soup. So I think it'll just be a little background. While we're waiting for this, let's go shred up some cheddar cheese. People ask me about gadgets. They're like, what gadgets do you think are worth it? Which ones are not? Most gadgets are not worth it. I don't have a lot of gadgets. I use a chef's knife for most everything, a peeler, obviously. But if you're gonna shred your own cheese, then a gadget is definitely where you wanna be, okay? Because shredding your own cheese is like backbreaking. So I got myself, I have like a different version of this. I have something in my way, hold on. A giant flour container in my way. I have like a big giant version of this. And honestly, I never use it because it's so hard to drag out and use. It's a huge pain in the butt. And so when I discovered that they make like a mini version of this, I was like, sign me up. This is about 8 ounces of cheese, like half of a, I guess that's a 1 pound block. This comes apart out of this piece, and this piece comes off too, so you can wash it. And this unlocks, so it comes off of the surface. Anyways, it's just very convenient. It took me what? You watched me, 10 seconds to shred all this cheese. It's been simmering away for 15 minutes. This is what a simmer looks like, or sort of an aggressive simmer. Now I'm gonna put, I tasted this, and to be honest, for my liking, it's a little bit spicy. I wish I had put less red pepper flakes. So we're gonna add cheese and see if it tones it down. We're gonna start with 2 big handfuls of cheese. So that's about 8 ounces of cheese, and we're gonna stir it up. I've also lowered the heat because you don't want to scorch the cheese. So we're just want the cheese to melt in gently. So I've lowered the heat down to low. I don't know about you, but this looks pretty velvety delicious. Probably not for the lactose intolerant, which is me. I'm Asian. Okay, I'm gonna give this a little taste. Remember, it's scorching hot coming out of here, and always use a clean spoon. 2 notes for it. If I were to do it again, I would chop up the broccoli into smaller pieces so there was more flecks of broccoli instead of big chunks of broccoli. I would use less red pepper flakes. That's way too spicy. And you can never have too much cheese. So I'm gonna put another cup of cheese in.